Welcome to the Six Fantasy Football Podcast. We've got an amazing show lined up for you today. We've got tons of news. Training camps are going on. So a lot of stuff is happening. We also have the Six FFL news. We've got trades and some keeper news going on. Keepers lock in just 20 days from the time we're recording this. So also, we're going to be calling our shot on some sleepers and a special Sixer draft. Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Six Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Zach Schaefer and Jeremy Flores.
Welcome to the Six Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schaefer, and with me is my co-host, Jeremy Flores. Jeremy, I have great news.
Let's hear it.
30 days. As of today, when we're recording, 30 days from the Six FFL draft. We are 20 days from keepers locking. I'm so freaking pumped.
Hey, man, excited is an understatement.
Like this week, I worked on my packing list, like everything I have to pack for the draft, all the special equipment I'm going to be taking, all that stuff, like our podium that we're going to be drafting from. This is the first time we've done that. Lots of extra stuff that I haven't told everybody about, so I'm trying to keep it quiet. I had to make a
I'm glad
packing
you're
list.
driving.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm driving too. Or I'd have to be flying Southwest, not a sponsor, but should be a sponsor. Because 2 bags fly free with Southwest.
So why'd you just make a commercial right now?
Yeah, again, not a sponsor, but should be a sponsor because I will shout out Southwest at any given time if prompted, like I just was.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
By myself. All right, man. So we've got a lot. First, Twitter handles. He's at _ Jeremy Flores _ and I am at Jedi Master Zach. You can follow the league at the 6 FFL. Let's get into the NFL news of the day.
NFL news of the day.
All right. So first on the docket, Deshaun Watson, still no suspension. And I feel like as soon as this show drops, there will be a suspension coming down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that after every episode, though. You're like, yeah, it'll happen this week.
Yeah. I heard yesterday that it would come today. So, but we're recording at 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday evening, and it still hasn't come today. So I imagine that will not be the case. Michael Thomas is off the PUP list and practicing today. Did you see some of the clips of him practicing today?
Yeah, finally. Hey. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's all good, okay? He's catching footballs again, running, like makes my
with
heart
no
happy.
limp. With no limp. That's a big deal. He was so good in 2019. He was one of my keepers in 2019 and 2020. And since 2020, he just hasn't played. He's been hurt. This ankle injury has been bothering him for a long time, and it's good to see him playing without restraint.
I really think him and Jameis will have that connection. I think it can be really, really good.
And here's the thing. One of the things that people have been talking, don't fade Chris Olave just because Michael Thomas is healthy. In fact, the person you should probably be fading is like a Marquez Callaway, who I have in one of my dynasty leagues. Like the Michael Thomas coming back is not good for Marquez Callaway stock. But other than that, it's a really good sign. Another person not on the PUP list is James Robinson, which is a shock because of his Week 16 Achilles tear that killed teams' chances at back-to-back titles. Team had James Robinson, and James Robinson tore his Achilles in the title game for the 6, but it's a big deal that he is not on the PUP list.
Yeah, I mean, we look at like trainers and stuff nowadays, like things turn around so fast now. Like
Mhm.
I even think NBA, like Klay Thompson, shouldn't have been playing basketball when he was after what happened to him. So it's like the same thing in the
Well,
field
Cam
as
Akers
well.
played in the Super Bowl after getting hurt during the preseason. Like,
Yeah, unheard of.
yeah. Joe Burrow having his appendix removed, he'll miss some practice time. That's like a 2 to 6 week. I think they've probably increased or decreased that since my appendix was removed. And Joe Burrow's all obviously built different than I am. But
Not by much.
no,
Most 6'4", whatever. So.
yeah, it's just mine's a little bit more fatty than his is. I have a little bit more jelly donut.
Hey, it's okay. I honestly though, like this kind of thing right here is nothing. Like it's barely even
it's
invasive
nothing
anymore. Like
yeah,
he'll literally miss more weeks because of stitches than like being in pain.
yeah.
Like I said, seriously.
Chris Carson retires at the age of 27 because of a looming neck injury. He was a keeper for you in 2020. He had a really great 2019 season where he finished as the running back 9. And you know what? Seattle's doing right by him, putting him on the retired list. He's going to be able to be compensated for the medical retirement.
That's good. I'm glad. He's so young. It sucks. Like, man, and he was so talented. Like when he was healthy, he was a great running back. He was a good RB2 to have, or like backup on your bench kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Not in 2019, obviously. Like you should start him every week because the Seahawks were lethal. But like that's just sad that like now we have to look at Rashad Penny and think, and not that Penny's bad, but it's just
no Penny's
so
good.
Chris Carson.
Yeah. So John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan confirmed that Trey Lance is the starter. I want to note something here. This morning in the decal chat, which is another one of our leagues, Colby and I actually got essentially pranked. We weren't necessarily pranked. We were just lied to, and that we were lied to because the My Fantasy Life app, which is a Matthew Berry app, they got punked by somebody on Twitter pretending to be Adam Schefter, who put out a tweet saying Jimmy G was traded to the Giants for 2 second-round picks. So it was Matthew Berry being punked by a fake Adam Schefter account that punked us this morning. So Jimmy G's still with the 49ers, but Trey Lance has been told he's the starter. What do you think that good news for San Francisco, obviously great news for Trey Lance. What do you think about for the other weapons on the team?
Yeah, obviously, I think Kyle Shanahan is a great coach. I think he can see talent from a mile away. I'm glad they drafted Trey Lance because I think he's a solid quarterback. And obviously, like something has happened, like in the offseason and what they've seen of like, okay, he is like our guy now. And we know Jimmy G was on his way out for a while. Like we always, like, who's going to be traded, those kind of things. I think this changes Debo's stock a little in just a sense of he'll be a normal wide receiver now. Like, I think you will see, like, honestly, you could see like Jamar Chase kind of numbers from Debo in the air and not just on the ground. I think the running back room will stay more of a running back room and not like a Trey Lance does a lot with his legs there. He's fast. He's quick. George Kittle, I think, will get quite a few targets. I don't know. I like this move a lot for the 49ers.
Yeah. I definitely have Trey Lance moving up my draft board for this season. For sure. Obviously,
he's got everything around.
Yeah. He's gonna, and one of the things that I love about Trey Lance, he works with his legs, and in fantasy, that's what you want out of your quarterback, is someone who works with their legs. Julio Jones signs a 1-year deal with Tampa. Russell Gage believers beware. Mike Evans believers, I wouldn't lose your cool quite yet.
Bro, Julio just wants a ring so bad.
Don't they all? And you know what? We were texting in the 6 chat. I said it a couple weeks ago. I said I think the Bucks are going to the Super Bowl again, and I think it's going to be the Bills versus the Bucks. We have a call your shot like Super Bowl episode coming up in a few weeks, but That's my prediction right there.
Yeah. It's not a bad one. Not at all.
Yeah. Chris Godwin not on the pup, and he's been cleared to begin camp. Which they announced that before signing Julio Jones. So that's interesting. Good news for Chris Godwin. Horrible news for Russell Gage truthers.
Seriously, like they have like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans 1 and 2, and then it's like you're fighting for the wide receiver 3 on a team that already like just airs the ball out so much to these other 2 guys, and then you have Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Like,
yeah,
it's tough. But I mean, if we see Julio play 17 football games, I think it'd be a miracle.
Yeah.
I don't know if in the last 10 years he's played like a whole season without being injured. So,
and that's something that's really hard to predict. Then that's just fact of the matter. It's hard to predict injury. I feel like we can do that with CMC, but
that's about it.
That's about it. John Mechie was diagnosed with leukemia. He's going to miss the season. That sucks. It's awful. Obviously, the team is behind him going through this. The fantasy community is behind him going through this. He said it's one of the most curable forms of leukemia.
Yeah, it was like acute something. So.
Yeah, so that's good news in the bad news, right?
Yeah.
Darnold and Baker are going to be splitting snaps this training camp, splitting first team reps. And I hate that announcement. You know, I hate that announcement.
DJ Moore?
No, I hate that announcement because you know Baker is going to be the QB1.
Yeah, I mean, Baker is by far the better quarterback.
And you know Baker's going to be the QB1, but you're taking reps away from him. The same way Jacksonville took reps away from Trevor Lawrence last season by you knew Minshew was not going to be the QB1. You knew Lawrence was going to be. Urban Meyer said, "Oh, we're going to have them split reps because Urban Meyer's an awful coach." And then Matt Rule's doing the same thing with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. It doesn't make sense.
Not at all. I think you're dumb. I think it's dumb for that to happen, and like you're not building the chemistry you'd want, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
Poor DJ.
DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are stuck in QB hell.
DJ Moore is a wide receiver 1 on 90% of the teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is the wide receiver 1 on that team. I mean, like, for fantasy.
But other teams as well. He has the talent. He's gifted, and comparable to Terry McLaurin, he's in QB hell. He's a great wide receiver that's stuck with piss poor QBs every season. Every season. Okay, final bit of news of the NFL. We've had 13 teams drop beautiful, beautiful alternate helmets. I want to know, what is your favorite alternate helmet that's come out?
I'm pulling them up. I'm pulling up 2 of them really quick just to make sure. But I really, really like the Eagles alternate.
The black alternate.
I love the Philadelphia Eagle. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think that looks so good. And then obviously, like, I have to do this, and I think you could have seen this coming a mile away, but the Saints alternate.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is the clear 101.
Oh, I forgot about Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
White Bengal.
Yeah, white Bengals clean. Clear 101. I loved Houston's. The battle red looks really clean. I did not like Chicago's orange. And then I didn't love okay, it's good that Arizona's finally got something different. But like one of our friends said it in the chat, like, can we just do black looks for each team because that's what they're doing. But yeah, I loved Cincinnati's. I loved Houston's. And then Dallas going back to their traditional, the white helmet for Thanksgiving. That's going to be pretty nice.
Yep. They're all mini helmets that I want to get. So
Oh, yes, I need to add to my collection for my shelf back here.
exactly.
All right, let's get into the 6 FFL news of the day.
The 6 FFL news of the day.
All right, first bit of news, Jayhawks, we traded team. This would have been last week. I get the 305, which is number 17 overall, and the 402, which is number 20 overall. For the 303, number 15 overall, and the 404, which is the number 22 overall. I get the 420.
I always question like why people trade mid-round picks like this. And I knew you wanted this pick because of what the numbers are.
Yeah, 4th round, 20th pick.
I was about to ask again, but then I started laughing because I was like, wait, that'd be a dumb question because you're probably about to say it.
I've been trying to trade for Blaze's 12th round pick for a while. So that's the trade that went down. And here's the thing, the trade went down. It was a pretty even trade according to our draft pick value metrics. I'm pleased with it. I get to have my 3rd and 4th round picks be a lot closer than they were. And then I get to make the joke as well. And then the Mighty Bucks have confirmed that Patrick Mahomes will be kept for the 2022 season. No surprise there.
Yeah, obviously. We all knew that's coming.
Yeah. And we are, 20 days away from keepers locking, and news like this is going to be dropping as we get closer. And Patrick Mahomes, I actually didn't really think about this. I sat down this week and I wrote it all down. Patrick Mahomes is one of 3 players that has spent their entire career with only one team in the league.
Can I guess them all?
Yeah, there's 3 players, and that have been more than 1 year. Obviously, rookies have been 1 year, but more than one season with one team. They can be a free agent, but they've spent it with one team.
Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Alvin Kamara?
Yes.
Is the other one from team as well?
Yes.
Is it DeAndre Hopkins?
Yes, it is. So the Mighty Bucks / Leroy Jenkins. So Leroy Jenkins had the new owner after 3 seasons. So they had 2018, 2019, 2020 Leroy Jenkins, and then the Mighty Bucks, or Austin Buck, took over. Leroy Jenkins became the Mighty Bucks. So for 4 seasons, Patrick Mahomes has been with the Mighty Bucks / Leroy Jenkins as one franchise. And then Alvin Kamara since 2017 has been with team, and DeAndre Hopkins has been with team since 2016. Now that streak could end. We've talked about DeAndre Hopkins quite a bit. He's not being kept. And we have discussed, we do think there's a distinct possibility that he does get drafted very early on because of the attachment to him. But he will not be kept.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Call Your Shot. We want to thank you for listening to the 6 FFL podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by the 6 FFL store through Redbubble. We have team merch for all teams, not just team, as well as championship gear, playoff gear, and much, much more. Stickers, t-shirts, hoodies, and anything you can imagine, all on the 6 FFL store. The 6 FFL store helps us keep going, keeps this podcast going, and keeps our league going. So go grab some merch and support us today. All right, welcome back. It's time for Call Your Shot.
Call your shot.
Harry! You're alive! And you're a horrible shot!
All right, Jeremy, you're going to start. We're going to be calling our shot on some sleepers. Who's your first sleeper?
Yeah. So as you guys know, call your shot. Just looks like Zach and I calling our shot on some players throughout this season. So we did rookies, right? That was last call your shot was
hot takes.
oh yeah, fantasy hot takes. So we did like places we thought people would finish, whatever. And then this one will be hot takes on sleepers, like calling your shot on what these sleepers will do. And they might not be sleepers like in fantasy world, but to us, they are. So my first sleeper is Hollywood Brown. Marquise Brown last year with the Baltimore Ravens had 91 receptions for 1,008 yards with only 6 touchdowns. That's a low touchdown number for somebody with that many receptions and that many yards. Which, I mean, throw 4 more touchdowns on there, and he's so much better already. But Mark Andrews took so much of that. Like the end zone looks all went to Mark Andrews. That's why he's a tight end 1. Hollywood Brown got them down there. And then Lamar ran it in or Mark Andrews caught it. Like, that's just how it went. And so what I like about Hollywood is he is in a similar style offense with the Arizona Cardinals now. The only thing is, like, James Conner is a better running back than what the Ravens had last year with no J.K. Dobbins and all that. So that's the only thing that scares me a little bit, like end zone touches. But Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson play football a lot similar to each other. No DeAndre Hopkins, no Christian Kirk, and their tight end I don't think is not as good as Mark Andrews. And so I think Hollywood will he probably will I give him around the same receptions, give him a little bit more yards and a couple more touchdowns for sure. And I think he would be a very, very viable wide receiver 2 on any fantasy team this year. And I like him a lot.
He's currently going as the wide receiver 21. Definitely, if you're expecting him to be the wide receiver 1 for this team, can be a value where he's being drafted. ADP is 54 overall. I love Hollywood. I love that he's with Kyler. I love that he has a connection with Kyler already.
I even forgot about that. Oklahoma, baby.
Mm-hmm. We have we have a history of quarterbacks and their wide receivers pairing up this offseason, like Devontae and Derek Carr. But you see Kyler and now Hollywood together again. I think you see the receptions probably stay around the same, but his touchdown numbers could increase. I'd be really happy if I took him, 5th round in a 10-team league, 12-team league, and him get 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. I'd love more, but I think I'd be extremely happy if that was the output this season.
Yep.
So right now,
sure.
I'd definitely love to have him as a 5th round pick and a redraft right there in the 5th round.
Yep, no doubt.
All right. Well, my first sleeper is a little bit deeper of a sleeper than that. That's Christian Kirk. You mentioned him. He's now in Jacksonville, and I did not mean for 2 of my sleepers to line up with 2 of my fantasy hot takes, but we'll get to the second one in a second. But I talked about Trevor Lawrence last episode, and I'm going to be talking about Christian Kirk this episode. He had 77 receptions, 982 yards, and 5 touchdowns with Arizona. Now he's in Jacksonville. He's with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to play in the slot. And in PPR, which is what we play, with Trevor Lawrence under pressure a lot, he's going to be a value where he's going as the wide receiver 43. He's currently at being drafted 103 overall. Christian Kirk is going to be a lot. And here's the thing, especially like think about a best ball league where you draft and you're good and they're going to play him. Having Christian Kirk is going to be awesome in a best ball league because there's going to be weeks where he pops off. I think especially playing in the slot in Doug Peterson's offense, Sorry for the stutter. Playing in the slot in Doug Peterson's offense is going to be a tremendous boost to Christian Kirk's game. I think you'll see an increase in touchdowns, yards, and receptions this season.
Yeah, I like Christian Kirk. I like Christian Kirk at Arizona when he did well. Like he was kind of he caught a lot of touchdowns the year before this. But I mean, even 77 reception like that right there, what I'm looking at makes me happy for what Hollywood Brown can do. Because it's like, hey, he got 77 receptions and 900, almost 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. And that's Christian Kirk. He was the wide receiver too. At least
yeah,
for
and
6.
that's with D-Hop in the games.
Yeah.
At least
I was
most
going to
of
say,
them.
with Marquise Brown, with that no D-Hop will for sure be the number one receiver in that team for 6 weeks for sure. No telling what it'll look like when D-Hop comes back. But that's 6 straight weeks of Kyler Marquise connection. So Christian Kirk, great receiver. Yeah, I like that. Hey, good job.
All right. Sleeper number 2 for you.
Yeah, mine is going to be Mr. Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields in the sense of the same way I like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a really good fantasy quarterback, and I think Justin Fields has the makings to do that as well. So Justin Fields had played in 12 games last year, started 10 of them. He threw for around 1,900 yards. He threw 7 touchdowns and rushed for 420 yards and ran 2 touchdowns in 10 starts. Now, granted, the Bears have upped some things. They still have Darnell Mooney. Who else did they sign? Somebody else, a receiver?
Byron Pringle from Kansas City.
Yeah. Okay, not great. Darnell Mooney is going to be the workhorse.
They also drafted Velus Jones Jr.
Oh,
in the 3rd or 4th round.
Okay, and then they still have David Montgomery. And
Montgomery. They still have I'm blanking on his name, who is the backup to David Montgomery.
Oh, is it Khalil Herbert?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they still have Khalil Herbert, and they still have Dave Montgomery. And they still have Darnell Mooney. They now have Velus Jones, and then Byron Pringle. They also still have Cole Kmet as well.
Yeah. Oh, and I've seen Cole Kmet as a pretty big sleeper for tight ends on this coming up year. But besides the point, I like Justin Fields because he's had 12 games under his belt. He is probably feeling more comfortable. When I saw Justin Fields make really good plays with his legs and his arm and do really good things last year, I was like, holy cow, that guy has it. He just has to get the nerves out, maybe get a little bit of better protection, find his rhythm. And so I think this year could be a good sophomore season for him. So screw the sophomore slump. I think Justin Fields has a chance of being a pretty good quarterback this year. I think he's I mean, you might draft him late round, but you definitely would want to stream him against certain teams and have him for bye weeks, things like that. So
the thing I dislike about Justin Fields is I know the Bears are rebuilding. That's the biggest issue I have with him. He's like Trey Lance. He's going to be able to run. He does have some weapons. Trey Lance obviously has better weapons. But here's the thing. If you can get, especially like our league, we don't have a whole lot of people that love drafting rookies. Younger guys. But Justin Fields right now, Fantasy Pros has him as QB 17. And right now his ADP is 124.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that is backup draftable, someone you can fill in bye week if he starts popping off, plays the Lions 1 week. you can start him. Oh yeah, sorry. Plays the Lions 1 week. I'm not even a Lions fan. I just got the shirt. It's clean.
That's what I have to say that every day when I wear a different sports team shirt. I'm like, this is a free shirt. I don't know.
That's yeah. And I have a lot of hats.
Yep.
Like I'm the hat guy. Oh, you Braves fan? Oh, you a Jets fan? And like, no, I have the hat. But yeah, Justin Fields, great backup. They actually have oh man, I'm bumping my mic. They Fantasy Pros have him ranked higher than these five quarterbacks, and I want to name these five quarterbacks, and I want you to tell me who you would draft first, Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Justin Fields or Matt Ryan.
Is Matt Ryan playing for the Colts now?
Colts.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields or Jameis Winston.
Jameis. Healthy Jameis, dude. I think he's top 10 quarterback in the league.
Justin Fields or Ryan Tannehill.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields or Zach Wilson.
Justin Fields.
Okay, that's their next five after Justin Fields.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this list. The next two after that, Daniel Jones and then Mac Jones. And I would take Mac Jones over Justin Fields.
Bold prediction. What else I do?
All right. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is my next sleeper. Again, I said I did not mean for these to match up with my hot takes from last week or last episode. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a rough season with the Packers last year. 430 yards, 3 touchdowns, 26 receptions. He's now on a Tyreek Hill-less Chiefs team with Patrick Mahomes, and the smoke coming out of Kansas City is that he'll be the one. Right now, he's a value at wide receiver 49. ADP is going at 132. You can snag him late. You can stash him and see where his production goes. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a talented wide receiver. And in fact, when I had Devontae Adams on my team, I'd get really frustrated because I felt like MVS was the target. And I know Devontae got a lot, but it was like, hey, touchdown time. And it was like, oh, it's MVS, not DT. But MVS with a new pass-happy Chiefs team without Tyreek Hill. I really like the odds for him. And you know what? The hard thing is I like the odds for everybody who's going to be in that offense this season. The fear is that we have just a bunch of McCole Hardmans where they're putting up seriously average numbers.
Yeah. Makes sense. You never know, though. That's the fun part about it. Yeah. Okay, so my last sleeper, I've gone back and forth between two people, but I think I'll stick with the one I have written down. So the person I have written down is, it's funny, it's a sleeper because he's a rookie, so we haven't seen him play in the NFL yet, but I definitely think he is draftable, not streamable. Like, I think you'd have to draft this guy for him to be on your team because I think he will honestly be worth starting a couple of weeks, if not, unless he shows us something and he's like, oh yeah, you must start every week. But that player is Drake London, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I like Drake London because he is a 6'5", 210-pound receiver. Let's see. That ran a 4.4 in the 40. I mean, he had like 1,100 yards in college with 77 receptions and 7 touchdowns. College is different than the NFL. So I think with him and Kyle Pitts, that's it. And whoever's throwing to him, whether it be Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder, I think either will be great. I think Drake London coming in as a rookie has something to prove. Who knows what might happen, but I think he has a very, very good shot to be one of the best rookie receivers this year. I still love Treylon Burks, but Drake London is huge. He's a big target to throw to, especially in the end zone, and you need touchdowns in fantasy to do well. So if he catches more touchdowns in Atlanta than Julio did, I think we'll be great. So,
well, right now his ADP is 94, and he's the wide receiver 39 for fantasy pros. So that's, I mean, here's my fear with Drake London. And he is Marcus Mariota. That's my fear for Drake London. It's my fear for Kyle Pitts. That Marcus Mariota is your quarterback. Here's the thing, Marcus Mariota is not a bad quarterback. He has a starting job for a reason. It's just he's not Matt Ryan.
Yeah. He also hasn't been starting.
Yes.
Like last time he started consistently was the Titans, and then he spent how long for the Raiders and played like 2 games maybe?
I believe 3 seasons with the Raiders.
Yeah, that's such a long time to just sit behind somebody. It's like Derek Carr too. So I don't know. I think it'll be cool to see. Like maybe he has something to prove. Maybe he does really well. If not, I think Desmond Ridder can throw the football. So
all right. My next and final sleeper is a dog. It's someone that I was kind of out on last year. And dude, and you know what? Preseason I was out on him. But this year, the weapons that's been put around Zach Wilson has really been what's changed my mind. He had 2,334 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 12 turnovers last year. Now has a year under his belt. He's going to be in a value because of his ADP. He's going to be a streamable quarterback at first, but once he gets the ball going, he's not going to be streamable because he's going to be on somebody's roster. He has new weapons like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. He still has Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims. Currently, he's the quarterback 22 and being drafted 174th overall currently in ADP. I really, really think that this year is going to be the year of Zach Wilson.
Honestly, I hope you're right because I like Zach Wilson. He does have that dog in him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And, man, I want him to do so well, like genuinely, because I love seeing, like, quarterbacks come in and, like, change the game.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be cool if he could do that for once, like, especially for the Jets. Like, to watch him, like, if he could do something for the Jets, oh, my gosh, that'd be so good.
It would be phenomenal. All right. Well, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we're going to get into a Sixer draft. This episode of the Six Fantasy Football Podcast is brought to you by the Six Fantasy Football Draft, coming this August 26th to Dallas, Texas. You can follow the draft on Twitter, Instagram, the league website, the6ffl.wixsite.com/the6, as well as on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. All right, welcome back. Let's get into the Sixers draft.
The Sixers draft.
You got us, Bo Callahan!
All right, for this Sixer draft, here's what we're doing. We're drafting NFL retro logos. Any NFL logo that's no longer in use is going to be considered a retro logo. I have the privilege of having the 101 because Jeremy drafted first overall last time we drafted. So I'm going to draft 101 right here. And my 101 is the Seattle Seahawks. Blue and green. I don't know who you thought I was going to take, but
yes.
I love the Seattle Seahawks blue and green logo. Actually, I don't know if you know this, inspired by Native American totem poles.
Yeah, you can tell. You can look at the top of it. It looks like
beautiful.
I like that.
I'm going to let you go ahead and go with your 102 because clearly you're really excited about some logo, and I don't know what it is. I bet it's on my list if you're that excited about it.
Well, I just think this logo looks so good. And it's like it's even better because it is the animal holding the football. And I'm going to draft the Eagles logo, the retro.
Okay.
I love the colors. The green and white looks great.
Mhm.
And it's an eagle full spread, and it's holding the football in its talons. Like, what gets better than that?
Definitely on my list, but was not in my top 7.
How about
So,
that?
yeah.
And then my next pick, you probably could interchange these, and I think this pick would be a better like 101 or 102, whatever. But I will go with the Chicago Bears.
Which one? The one with the bear on the ball, or
Just the bear.
just
head.
the bear head?
It's so iconic.
It
I
is.
think when I see it, I think of like, oh gosh, I don't want to sound stupid now. It makes me think of Mike Ditka.
It makes me think of Urlacher.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Burner.
All right. Well, my next pick. Here's the thing. This logo that I'm about to pick is, I don't root for this team anymore, but it was the reason I did. The entire reason, like, I think it's one of the most well done logos, and it's proof to me. This should have been like, hey, number one, clue in that Shad Khan was going to be an awful owner when he got rid of the Jacksonville Jaguars original logo. That's one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I've got it right here. Look at this. I've got it all over some stuff, but look at that beautiful
like
logo.
that.
Love that
makes
logo.
me, you know who that makes me think of?
Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith.
Maurice Jones-Drew. Do you remember the catch, the Hail Mary catch that like bounced off people and he caught it like this in the end zone? I remember watching that live.
David Garrard. Oh, Byron Leftwich. Yeah. Love that logo. All right. My next pick, I'm kind of leaning between two. I'm going to go ahead and take this one because I think it's the better of the two. One I love because of the colors, but this one I love because I think it's all around good logo. And this is the late 90s, early 2000s Miami Dolphins with the helmet. I love that logo. It is a beautiful logo.
Idiot, dude. I should have picked it earlier.
And then that one too, that reminds me of the not classic days of the Dolphins, but I mean my childhood growing up with the Dolphins. That's just an amazing logo.
Yeah, literally just Dan Marino's in my head right now. That's it. All right.
You're back on the board. You got 2 picks right here.
I'm going to go with my next pick. Oh gosh. I think because of how iconic it is and how, oh man, okay, I'm pivoting hard. Oh god.
Pivot!
I'm going to go with the Patriots. I just gotta say
Patriot Pat. It's on my list. It's up there.
I have to. He's the center. He doesn't even look like a center, but he is.
Yeah. He was on my list. Definitely in my top 7.
Yeah. And this next one, I think I'm going to go with it because the colors are my favorite colors when it comes to anything sports related. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
I like colors are big and the old horns, like how big they are, like all of that. Just, I like that logo a lot.
Yeah. Well, I get to go back on the board. I got 2 more picks right here. And I've got 4 more that are in my top 7. And man, I love that this logo is just so good. This logo makes me think of the good old days. And by good old days, I mean late 90s, early 2000s. Sam Bradford, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams. Love that logo. It is St. Louis. And then next after that, I'm kind of, oh man, you know what? I feel like I have to take this logo here because I feel like it won't come back to me. And this is the one I almost took when I took the Dolphins. But this one, like I now feel like it won't come back to me. I love it because the colors are beautiful. It's iconic, and it's talked about as one of the most like people wish this logo was back. And I'm gonna go Houston Oilers right here. I love that logo.
I wrote down your team thinking I knew who it was, and I was wrong.
Who'd you think I was gonna take?
I'm not going to say it yet because I want to take it.
Okay.
And I thought you were taking it because of the colors, but Oilers, I like that. I like that logo a lot. Those colors are great. Makes me think of like old Mrs. Powder Blue jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how many more picks do we have?
You have 3 more picks. You got 2 right here. And then I've got 2 more to wrap up, and then you've got 1 after that.
Okay. So this one I don't think would get back to me. And I'm going to go with the old Chargers logo on the shield.
Yes.
That's what I wrote down for you because I thought because of the colors and everything, that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. It is on my list, but not in my top 7.
But then when you said that the it would like come back or whatever, like, oh yeah. Okay. This pick, I'm not gonna pick it yet because I think it would come back. I'm going to go. I'm going to take the not the oldest one, but the one that just got redone, the Redskins logo. Only because I have a lot of shirts of that logo because that's my grandpa's favorite team, and that's who like we grew up watching that logo, that team. Trying to think who comes to mind when you think of that team.
Lots of players because they've had so many quarterbacks.
What
RG3.
What linebackers in my head because of this team? You were thinking Sean Taylor there, right?
Sean Taylor is who I was thinking of. RG3. I don't know what linebackers come into your head.
Running back? Who's running back for that team?
I can think of Alfred Morris as one.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson played there a little bit. In fact, I have an Adrian Peterson Redskins jersey in my closet. Not gonna lie. But
iconic.
Yeah. All right. Well, I now have back-to-back picks to wrap up my draft. This one is going way back. I love this logo. It probably isn't on the top of your list at all, but it's one I really enjoy. The Dallas Texans, which is the Chiefs before the Chiefs. They were the Dallas Texans. They have a great logo. It's just state of Texas with the Cowboys shooting a gun. It's a great logo. And then I'm going with Denver's logo of the Angry Horse, the Angry Bronco. I really like that logo. Just the D makes me think of John Elway.
Yeah, I like that logo, honestly.
Yeah, it's a really, really good logo. Now you are finishing up the draft. Who you got?
I got to go with the iconic. It doesn't look the best, but it's iconic. It makes me think of a lot of different things. And I actually genuinely like the simplicity of this logo. I'm going with the New York Giants.
Just the Giants wording across.
Yep.
Good stuff. The one they're putting on their alternate logo or alternate helmet.
Yep. I like that logo a lot.
For this season. All right. So I'll name off the teams. I have the Seahawks totem logo, Jaguars original logo, 90s, early 2000s Dolphins, St. Louis Rams, Houston Oilers, Dallas Texans, and the old Denver Broncos logo. You have the Philly Eagle full spread, the Chicago Bear, Patriot Pat, old Vikings logo, the Chargers shield, the Redskins newer edition, and the old Giant script logo. All right. That about does it for this episode. We do have a special announcement. It was announced on Twitter this week, but we are going to be doing pretty much starting next month, really, an episode a week. We're going to be doing an episode a week until January. We're going to do an episode per week. We're going to cover the draft. We're going to do some mock drafts leading up to the draft. We're going to do a special episode from the draft. We're going to be doing recaps and previews for every week during the season. We're going to have a special edition episode to cover the individual player awards, all pro team announcements, MVPs at the end of the season. And we're going to also do an episode at the end of the season during the playoffs, during the NFL playoffs, to announce the Hall of Fame inductees of the class of 2023. So I'm excited. You excited?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm really excited about being in the season doing episodes, because I think it'll be really cool to talk about like what's going on and what we're texting. Like the six group chat blows up way more when it's season. We usually just text in the decal when it's not. So
I'm excited. I cannot wait. Next episode is going to be next week. That's when I have it planned for. We're going to be doing final keeper predictions, another mock draft, and we are either going to build our own Mount Rushmore, or we're going to be drafting another draft. All right. We'll see you next time. What an end, man. What an end.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the 6 Fantasy Football Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @the6FFL. Hit like and subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube. Follow on Spotify and check out our website, the6FFL.wixsite.com/the6.